Shalom, Hebrews and Hebrews. Welcome to the channel. This is Oilfield Disciple doing today's reading of 2 Kings chapter 1, and we're going to try to get over and start 2 Corinthians today. So, with that, let's get the camera flipped around. If you like the content, if you like what you hear, please go click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. I try to do frequent videos. We've got a lot of new things going on with the ministry that I'm pretty excited about, and that's taken up my time this last week, which is why we didn't do any videos this last week. We had Shavuot last Sunday that we observed, and so let's get with it. 2 Kings chapter 1. Let's see what Elijah has for us today. And Moab revolted against Israel after the death of Ahab. And Ahaziah fell through the lattice of his upper room in Samaria and was injured, and sent messengers and said to them, Go, inquire to Beelzebub. Now you'll hear that the devil is oftentimes named Beelzebub. Baal worship is prominent during the time of the ancient Israelites. It's just it's idol worship, and we're going to see here in just a second. So he says, Go inquire Beelzebub, the mighty one of Ekron, if I shall recover from this injury. But a messenger of Yahweh spoke to Elijah the Tishbite, Rise up, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say to them, It is because there is no Elohim in Israel that you are going to inquire of Beelzebub, the mighty one of Ekron? So therefore thus saith Yahweh, You are not going to get out of bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. And Eliah, why did it change its name here? Eliyahu. I'll have to look into that one. It's got a different spelling for Elijah here in the Hebrew. Eliah. Okay, verse 4, let me reread that. So therefore thus saith Yahweh, You are not going to get out of bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. And Eliah went, and the messengers returned to him and said to him, Why have you come back? And they said to him, A man came up to meet us and said to us, Go and return to the king who sent you, and say to him, Thus saith Yahweh, Is it because there is no Elohim in Israel that you are sending to inquire of Beelzebub, the mighty one of Ekron? Therefore you are not going to get out of bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. Be a terrible thing for a messenger to tell you that Yahweh has said, No, you're going to die. All because you are rebellious and hard-headed and adulterous. And he said to them, What was the man like who came to meet you and spoke these words? And they answered, He was a hairy man, and wore a leather girdle around his waist. And he said, It is Eliah the Tishbite. He then sent to him a captain of 50 with his 50 men. And he went up to him, and see, he was sitting on the top of the hill, and spoke to him, Man of Elohim, the king has said, Come down. And Eliah, now see here, we changed the name again. Up here it's spelled Eliyah, Eliah. And then here, Eliyahu answered and said to the captain of 50. And it's spelled Eliyahu. I'm not sure why they do that. This ain't the first time I've seen a different spelling. Back when we was reading when King David was prominent, one of the names, I think of his sons, was changed here. Anyway, verse 10. And Eliyahu answered and said to the captain of 50, if I am a man of Elohim, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And fire came down from the heavens and consumed him and his 50. He then sent another captain of 50 with his 50 men, and they answered him, Man of Elohim, this is what the king has said, come down at once. And now we're changed again. Eliyahu answered and said to them, if I am a man of Elohim, let fire come down from the heavens and consume you and your 50 men. And fire of Elohim came down from the heavens and consumed him and his 50. Now over in Luke, when we see the sons of thunder, James and John, and Jesus sends them out to go and preach the gospel, and tells them that if you're not received, just move on. And they ask Jesus, shall we let fire come down from heaven like Elijah? And Jesus says, no, absolutely not. Who do you think you were serving? I come to seek and to save that which was lost. It is quite different here, but see, that's where when we're reading the scriptures, and we understand and we know some stories of or accounts of men in the past of the Bible, if we don't keep it in context, then we can get off course, just like James and John had got off course there a little bit with, Jesus saying, go preach the gospel, and whoever receives you not, just move on. And their response is, hey, Elijah brought down fire from heaven. What about us? How about those wicked people that don't want to follow the scriptures, follow your word? We'll just burn them up like Elijah did. A little different reference, a little different context there than what's going on with Elijah here. So, verse 13, and again he sent a third captain of 50 and his 50 men, and the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Eliyahu and pleaded with him and said to him, Man of Elohim, please let my life and the life of these 50 servants of yours be precious in your eyes. See, fire has come down from heavens and burned up the first two captains of 50s and their 50s. But let my life be precious in your eyes. And the messenger of Yahweh said to Eliyahu, Go down with him. Do not be afraid of him. And so he rose up and went down with him to the king and spoke to him. Thus saith Yahweh, because you have sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub, the mighty one of Ekron. Is it because there's no Elohim in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore you're not going to get out of bed to which you have gone up, for you shall certainly die. And he died, according to the word of Yahweh, which Eliyahu had spoken. And Jehoram reigned in his place the second year of Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, king of Yehudah, for he had no son. And the rest of the acts of Ahazyahu, which he did, are they not written in the book of annals? All right, so a lesson we can draw from this is, I hear a lot of times followers, those who claim to be of Messiah, Christians, speak about karma, speak about luck. It's luck, it's karma. That's no different than calling on Beelzebub. We need to be careful about doing so, lest we be caught up into idol worship, which is where karma comes from. Whoa, what happened to my Bible? All right, let's turn to 2 Corinthians. And let's begin 2 Corinthians today. I've skipped 1 Corinthians for a reason, and I will get back to it, but 2 Corinthians, this is the second letter that Paul has written to the city of Corinth, which is bound with idol worship, bound with adultery and sexual deviance. And here in the midst of this, we have the church being instructed and directed by Paul by these letters. Let's see what Paul has to say. 2 Corinthians chapter 1. Shaul, an emissary of Yeshua Messiah, by the desire of Elohim, and Timothy, the brother, to the assembly of Elohim that is at Corinth, with all the holy, or the whole the set apart ones who are in Achaia. Favor to you and peace from Elohim, our Father and Master Yeshua Messiah. Blessed be the Elohim and Father of our Master Yeshua Messiah, the Father of compassion and Elohim of all comfort. All right. Now, Paul had a distinct way of opening up his letters when he sent letters, or what's known as the epistles, to these different churches. It was kind of his signature, kind of like how I open up the videos with Shalom Hebrews and Shebrews. Paul had a very distinct way of writing that lets us know when it was Paul and when it was not. That's why certain scholars debate over certain letters like Hebrews. Some believe Paul wrote Hebrews, others don't. Hebrews doesn't begin in a way that Paul's signature opening or closing is in there, and so it's debatable. You know, we all have a pattern of how we speak and how we write, how we talk. It's kind of like our fingerprints. So, with that said, verse 4, who is comforting us in all? All right, now Jesus, he's not asking a question here, he's making a statement. Who is comforting us in all our pressure, enabling us to comfort those who are in every pressure? Every trial, tribulation is a pressure. Through the comfort with which we ourselves are comforted by Elohim. Because, as the sufferings of Messiah overflow in us, so our comfort also flow through Messiah. And if we suffer pressure, it is for your comfort and deliverance, being worked out and enduring the same sufferings, which we also suffer. And if we are comforted, it is for your comfort and deliverance. And our expectation for you is steadfast, because we know that as you are sharing in the sufferings, so also in the comfort. Right? Again, where cultural Christianity takes a hard left from what the scriptures dictate, following Jesus is not easy. When we make that bold step to follow Christ, follow our Messiah, life is going to get a little tougher on us, more oftentimes than not. We're not going to get the house, the girl, the bank account, the job right off the bat. You know, that may come. I'm not going to say it ain't. But to say that, to tell people that when you come to Christ, your life's going to get better, yes, it will. But in the spiritual sense, the physical sense, you're probably going to go through a whole lot of trial and tribulation. Verse 8, for we do not wish you to be ignorant, brothers, of our trials, which came to us in Asia, that we were weighed down exceedingly beyond ability, so that we despaired even of life. It was hell on wheels, is what Paul's saying. Indeed, we had the sentence of death in ourselves, and that we should not trust in ourselves, but Elohim, who raises the dead, who rescued us from so great a death, and does rescue, in whom we trust, that he shall still rescue us. You also helping together in prayer for us, that thanks shall be given by many on our behalf, for the grace bestowed upon us through many. For our boasting is this, the witness of our conscience, that we behaved in the world in simplicity and sincerity of Elohim, not in fleshly wisdom, but in the favor of Elohim, and much more toward you. For we are not writing any other matters to you, other than what you read or understand. Now I trust you shall understand even to the end. As also you have understood us in part, that we are your boast, as you are ours, in the day of Master Yeshua. And relying on this, I intended to come to you before, that you might twice receive grace, and to pass your way into Macedonia, and again from Macedonia come to you, and to be sent by you on my way to Yehuda. Since I intended this, did I do it lightly? Or what I plan, do I plan according to the flesh? That with me there should be yes, yes, and no, no. Paul's saying that we can plan things in the flesh, but sometimes God's going to deviate our plans, and life's not going to go according to Matt's plans or to John's plans. But it's going to be in God, and we need to learn to speak that way. God willing, I'll come to your house tomorrow and we'll have barbecue, Yahweh willing. Verse 18, but Elohim is trustworthy, that our word to you was not yes and no, not confusion. That's what Paul's saying. When we say something and it falls apart, it's not because we just didn't want to do it, that we lied to you, in other words. Verse 19, for the Son of Elohim, Yeshua Messiah, who was proclaimed among you by us, by me, Silas and Timothy, was not yes and no, but in him was yes. For as many promises as are of Elohim, in him they are yes, and in him, Amen, to the glory of Elohim through us. But he who establishes us with you in Messiah, and has anointed us in Elohim, who also sealed us and gave the Spirit in our hearts as a pledge. And I call Elohim as witness against my being, that to spare you I came no more to Corinth. Not that we rule over your belief, but we are fellow workers for your joy, for you stand by faith. Right? Paul's just saying, hey, I wanted to come see y'all. I really did. I wanted to come preach and teach to y'all. But Yahweh's plans is more higher than mine, and this is where we're at. We actually got put in prison. We were put on trial to be killed. And it was for God's glory. And we need to understand that's just going to happen. And not everything that happens to us that is not according to our plans doesn't necessarily mean that that's the devil, that's the enemy attacking us. It could be Yahweh putting obstacles before us to grow us, to lead us and guide us in truth. And so, I hope that helps you. I hope it blessed you, encouraged you, and even frustrated you. This is Oilfield Disciple, and we'll catch you on the next reading.